Good morning to all. Welcome to Marketing Matters 2023. It's going to be a great day, I think a really exciting day. For those of you I haven't met yet, my name is Stephan Loerke. I'm the CEO of WFA. Now, together with our partners at Branded, we've actually put together what I think is a stellar lineup of speakers for today. You're going to be seeing really exciting stuff. We're going to be touching upon almost every single hot button issues of the marketing industry. We'll talk about TikTok, we'll talk about Web3, we'll talk about female sports, we'll talk about the e-games, we'll talk about live events. And there's going to be one common thread across the entire day. In French, we call it un fil rouge, okay? And that common thread is marketing effectiveness. How do we make marketing more effective and more accountable, okay? And that's still work in progress. There's still much more progress to be made. And I'll say a few words about it just in a sec. But before I do that, I realize a number of you may not yet be entirely familiar with WFA, so let me just say a few words of intro to WFA. Who are we? The World Federation of Advertisers is the global organization bringing together brand owners. Okay, so we have in our membership 150 of the world's most admired brands. Many of them are actually here in the audience. Companies from Nike, to Singapore Airlines, from Booking.com to Porsche, brands that have a global footprint, and that community of brands is growing double-digit percentage every year. Additionally, we have in our association national advertiser associations from China to Japan, from Australia to the US, from Brazil to the UK. Collectively, that network represents roughly 90% of ad spend. Now, WFA has got a purpose in life, okay? And that holds in two words: better marketing. So we're committed to more responsible, more effective, and more sustainable advertising and marketing. And we do that by focusing on 5 priority issues, and you see them here in the back of our Better Marketing Atom. And I'll be talking about 2 of those in particular. And there are 2 initiatives that I want to share with you ahead of our conference, because I think it's actually relevant in order to understand the big issues that we're confronting as an industry. And the first one I'd like to talk to you about is what we've called the Global DI Census. Okay? So what we've done here, we released, by the way, the research just before Cannes, so this is pretty fresh, 2 months ago, 3 months ago. What we did is we reached out to 13,000 marketeers and asked them to share with us anonymously how they feel about their jobs when it comes to diversity and inclusion. Okay, 13,000 marketeers in 91 countries. And the way we did that is actually pretty unique. We assembled what is actually the largest ever coalition of the advertising industry. So imagine 160 trade associations, key stakeholders such as Cannes Lions, Campaign, Advertising Week, all the major global holding agency groups. All that coalition helped us reach out to 13,000 marketers. And we asked them a very simple question anonymously, okay? And marketers working for brands, for agencies, for platforms, for ad tech, marketers, yeah? And we asked them how they feel about their jobs. And that's what they told us. 1 in 7 marketers today in 2023 consider leaving their jobs in their companies because they feel it's not diverse and inclusive enough, okay? Now that's pretty sobering. And that ratio hasn't changed in the last 2 years, despite all the stuff that you've heard in the industry, despite all the commitments being made, despite all the headlines in our industry, that ratio is not moving. Now, there's even more challenging news, and that is if you look at the ratio for women, 1 in 6 women are envisaging to leave their jobs because they're not diverse and inclusive enough. Ethnic minorities, now these are global figures, huh? Ethnic minorities, 1 in 5, and even worse, 1 in 4 disabled people envisage to leave their jobs because they're not diverse and inclusive enough. So there's still a lot of work to be done. Now, there's also some good news. And the good news is that finally, 3/4 of people who responded anonymously said that they saw that their employers were making efforts when it came to diversity and inclusion. And even better, half of them, a bit more than half of them, said that things were starting to improve, okay? So there is momentum. We're not yet moving the needle, but there is momentum, and we have to double down. We have to double down because it's the right thing to do for people. It's the right thing to do for the industry. If we want to retain talent, if we want to attract talent to our industry, we need to solve this. We need to get this right. So that's the first initiative I want to talk about. The second one, very quickly, is called Sustainable Marketing 2030. And just give a bit of background. Why am I talking about this? A year and a half ago, WFA ran a big event called Global Marketer Week. We did that back in Athens. In that event, we organized an Oxford-style debate. So usually in conferences, you don't do Oxford-style debates, no, with two opposing teams. You usually do panels. Yeah? They tend to be quieter and more predictable. We did a proper debate, two opposing teams and one motion. And that motion was, marketing today is not compatible with a sustainable future. So pretty challenging motion. Imagine 3/4 of global marketers in this conference voted in favor of that motion, okay? 3/4 of global marketers said they admitted that their industry is not compatible with a sustainable future. Now, there are two reasons, I think, for this outcome. One is there was a really strong team arguing for the motion. You may know Rupen Desai. He's really, really damn good in those debates. You're going to be seeing him later in the program. But he was very good at making his point. But I think more fundamentally, I think it tells you something about the fact that we've arrived at a point where the industry needs to accept that status quo is not the way forward, and transformation is going to be needed. And that was also the starting point for this piece of research that I'm going to talk to you about in a second. We actually teamed up with Kantar, and we wanted to understand what has changed the last 2 years, what needs to change around us in the coming years, and what will be the role of marketers to drive sustainability in the coming years, okay? And rather than me sort of summarizing the research results, I'd like to share with you a short video that sort of summarizes the key insights that we gathered through that research. So in short, marketers get it, okay? Marketers get it. It's status quo is not an option. Gradual change is not going to get us there. Fundamental transformation is going to be needed. But how do we go about that? How do we pivot to a sustainable marketing model? We've called it the circular marketing framework. The circular marketing framework is actually based on 5 key levers. Yeah? Let me just see if I can get the slides up. That's going to help to explain it. So there's going to be 5 key levers. One is sustainability. Now, sustainability is not just yet another brand strategy. sustainability needs to cut across the entire organization. It needs to be aligned with business, but not only with business, also with people and with planet. It's going to require radical innovation. It's about changing the system and putting it on its head. When you look at business challenges under the angle of sustainability, you're going to be seeing opportunities that you don't see otherwise. It's going to be about transformative relationships. You're not going to be solving legacy issues with legacy solutions. You will have to move out of your comfort zone and start partnerships with brands, with NGOs, with other stakeholders that you haven't worked with so far. It's going to be about creativity in action. We marketers, we know how to shape people's choices and behaviors. Now we need that magic in action. And finally, it's going to be about value redefined. We need to be defining new metrics to measure performance, not only business performance, but also the impact on people and planet. If you're interested, check out our website, check out Planet Pledge. This is going to be a defining issue. It's the defining issue of the industry for the years to come. Now, back to our fil rouge, back to our thread of today, if I could have the next slide, please, which is marketing effectiveness. This year is actually the results of our poll. We run a poll like this every year in order to understand what's the marketer's agenda for the year to come. And guess what? Number one priority, year after year after year, since our inception in 1953, marketing effectiveness. How do we become more effective and more accountable as marketeers? Now, we all know that marketing effectiveness is important in our day-to-day lives, but we also know that many functions measure many different things. We also know that it doesn't always add up to 100%, and we also know that it doesn't always get the boat to go faster. And this is why we're devoting a lot of effort and a lot of time to work with our members, with brand marketers, in order to get better at that. This picture was taken actually very close to here at the Raffles 2 months ago, the first ever WFA Forum Connecting Singapore devoted solely to marketing effectiveness. How do we get better at marketing effectiveness? And you can't solve it on your own. So we brought together all the WFA committees into one place. CMOs, media, procurement, insights, and work together on common solutions. Now, what we also did is we ran a big piece of research together with Ubiquity and IPA. And it's actually the first piece of research that looks at short-term and long-term, and that looks specifically at the progress that brand marketers are making, so clients are making. And our research has found that there are actually 4 key attributes that determine marketing effectiveness in a company, okay? It's people, it's focus, it's data, tools, and measurement, and it's process, okay? Now, people, obviously, it's senior management buy-in and making sure that you secure the right marketing and the right organizational resource across the company. Focus, it's getting a clear vision and a roadmap across the entire company. Data, tools, and measurement, it's developing an ecosystem fed by quality data. And process, it's getting the sequence right between decision-making, activation, results, and measurement, okay? All seems pretty straightforward. Now, when we asked our 300 respondents, so brand marketers, in terms of how they score themselves against those 4 attributes, that's what they told us. So people and focus, they score actually above average, okay? But where they are really challenged is data, tools, and measurements, and process. That's where it hurts. And there are probably a number of reasons, but there are 3 reasons in particular that I'd like to explore in more detail. The slide is struggling, yeah. The first reason for that challenge is the measurement framework. You need a globally cascaded measurement framework that can measure short-term and long-term. And when we ask our respondents, only 40% of brand marketers have such a framework in place today. And I would say that 40% is probably still an overestimate of the reality. When we did our Forum Connect and asked, so hands up, who's got a framework of that type in place, it was not 40%, I can promise you. And when we then asked specifically in terms of measurement framework, how important is it to track long-term brand value? 71% of members said it's damn important, but only 50%, only half, have actually solid metrics that track brand equity long-term. Additionally, a marketing effectiveness process is powered by the right tools and needs to be fed by quality data. And here, only 44%, less than half, say they have that in place. And finally, the third challenge that we're identifying is collaboration. Now, marketing effectiveness is all about collaboration, cooperation across silos. Now, the good news is 3/4 of marketers say they've got really good collaboration with media, procurement, and insights when it comes to marketing effectiveness. However, when you dig deeper and you look at the relationship with finance, every single role that we interviewed, CMOs, media, insights, and procurement, every single role ranked the relationship with finance as the lowest quality relationship they have on marketing effectiveness. And honestly, if you want to be serious about marketing effectiveness in a company, you need a damn strong relationship with finance. So there's still a lot of work to be done for marketers to become credible on the basis of a strong relationship with finance, okay? So still a lot of work to be done on marketing effectiveness. I could be going on for quite a long time. Those of you who are interested will find that research on our website. And I will now hand back to Alex, and we're going to be jumping right into the program. Thank you much.